And students in Grand Prairie go back to school on Monday, but huge questions looming tonight about the spending of millions of taxpayer dollars in the district. It ranges from tens of thousands of dollars in upgrades at the superintendent's district-owned home to $2.5 million paid to vendors without board approval. Our consumer justice team has been fighting for answers all summer. Kristen Severance joining us tonight with the latest on the controversy. Kristen?
Grand Prairie taxpayers paid more than $350,000 to investigate questionable spending by Superintendent Susan Hall's administration. But instead of handing over the full 40-page report and more than 800 pages of exhibits, the board released a 9-page summary. We requested the full report through a public records request. The district refused, saying it would violate attorney-client privilege.
I mean, we're talking about a public trust here. We're not talking about a private company.
UTA ethics professor James Quick says the summary leaves too many unanswered questions.
This is the tip of the iceberg, and we don't know what's in the rest of the iceberg. Plain and simple.
Here's what we know. Attorneys were hired to investigate spending within GPISD, specifically renovations to Superintendent Susan Hall's district-owned home. The original budget for renovations was $80,000. Accountants found another $80,000 spent. None of it was presented to the board, and invoices were paid before work was completed, which is against district policy. Attorneys also investigated if employees split invoices over the $50,000 board approval limit. They found nearly 50 vendors were paid more than $50,000. That's $2.4 million taxpayer dollars spent without the board knowing or approving it. The report says the policy for large purchases is too vague. In a letter dated May 30th, the board said, "We agree that our policy should be updated to improve clarity." A district spokesman now says those changes will happen this fall. The policies have not been updated. What does that say?
It says they're not doing their job.
The report has caused turmoil among trustees. Steve Prairie was board president when he called for the investigation. As soon as it was over, the board voted to remove him as president. Trustees said they lost faith in Prairie because he didn't tell them when he received a draft of the full report.
I was branded as not a team player. I will tell you this, I am a team player. I'm team taxpayer.
Superintendent Hall disagrees.
I can't speak to Mr. Prairie's dissatisfaction with the report.
She talked about the issue at a recent education convention at SMU.
You may have seen me on the news lately, and if you have, changed the channel. But that is a great example of what can happen with one very disruptive board member.
Quick says Prairie's role as devil's advocate is an important one, and his concerns shouldn't be downplayed.
That's a way of discounting him and pushing him aside so that you don't see what's going on here.
GPISD has sent our request for the full report to the Attorney General's office, something government agencies do when they don't want to release something. We're waiting on the AG's decision. Board President Burkhall says the district's attorneys have advised them not to release everything.
Yeah, and if we rewind to when the first story originally aired regarding the renovation at Ms. Hall's home,
district-owned home, yeah.
District-owned home, you got a lot of calls regarding that, or at least emails and tips?
Yeah, multiple tips. Several people told us to look into payments to one company in particular and how that company was connected to a criminal case involving Dr. Susan Hall's husband. We're going to have that story tomorrow at 10.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Kristen, thank you very much.